Welcome back. We need to start with a warning for you listening. The details we're going to discuss today about Fred and Rosemary West are extremely disturbing. They involve violence, sexual abuse, and murder.
Yes, absolutely. We'll be approaching this with the seriousness it deserves, taking things chronologically, step by step.
Our focus today is really just to lay out the timeline of events as they happened. It's a difficult story, so we'll proceed carefully.
Okay. So, starting at the beginning.
Fred and Rose West. Just saying the names brings up this image, doesn't it? 25 Cromwell Street, the House of Horrors in Gloucester.
Absolutely infamous. And today, we're aiming to, well, go a bit deeper than just the headlines. We've looked at quite a range of material.
Yeah, we're not just recounting the basic facts. We've got news reports, book overviews, some YouTube analyses, Wikipedia deep dives, really trying to peel back the layers on this. It's horrific. Crime spanning, what, 1967 to 87?
At least 12 confirmed murders in that time. We've got firsthand accounts, like from that crime reporter, Martin Brunt, who actually went inside 25 Cromwell Street after the arrests.
Right, saw that. Paid money to get in, apparently.
Yeah, 300 pounds. It's mentioned in the Daily Express in his newer podcast. Plus, we have insights from Howard Sounds' book, Fred and Rose, and Kendall Ray's YouTube series, which really dug into their early lives.
And the usual suspects, Wikipedia for the timelines and details, plus local news articles on what happened to the site, even a Reddit thread exploring, well, potentially more victims.
Exactly. And some brief footage from inside the house post-discovery from a True Lives piece. It all paints a picture.
A deeply disturbing picture. We're talking brutal torture, rape, murder, young women, girls, even their own children, and burying them right there at home. Okay, let's start with that reporter's account. Martin Brunt going into the house. What was that like?
Well, the detail that struck me was how almost transactional it seemed. Paying cash to enter this place, synonymous with pure evil. It says a lot about the media frenzy, I suppose.
And just walking in, he mentioned using the attic access from the house next door, number 23, no key needed.
Yeah, shared access kind of makes your skin crawl, doesn't it? These ordinary houses, side by side, one hiding unimaginable horrors. He also found, like, a discarded rubber glove.
From the forensic teams, presumably. A stark reminder.
Right. But he described the rooms themselves, once stripped by police, as almost boring. Mundane.
Which is maybe the most chilling part, that this kind of depravity can hide behind such a normal facade, until you get to the cellar, of course.
Ah, the cellar. He described seeing childish drawings on the walls, a cowboy, some writing, and right near that, the evidence of the digging. 5 holes where police found bodies.
That juxtaposition, innocence and absolute brutality in the same small space, it's hard to fathom.
And you can see why Brunt, a seasoned crime reporter, called it the worst case he ever covered. It wasn't just the number of deaths, it was the sheer cruelty, the torture, the fact they killed their own kids. It hits differently.
It really does. Which I suppose forces us to ask, how? How do people become like this? Let's look at their backgrounds. Fred's early life, drawing from those sources, sounds like a recipe for disaster.
It's deeply disturbing. You look at his father, Walter described as violent, abusive, maybe even a killer himself, apparently taught Fred to just take what he wanted, that anything's okay if you don't get caught.
And encouraged things like incest with Fred's sister. And bestiality.
Yes, according to the accounts, yes. Incest, bestiality with farm animals. It seems designed to just obliterate any sense of boundaries, any respect for life or consent. It likely completely desensitized him.
And his mother, Daisy, she was described as strict, but then there's this allegation of a sexually inappropriate relationship with Fred himself, him losing his virginity to her at 13.
It's incredibly messed up. Add to that things like being forced to kill a pet pig, developing an interest in killing wild animals. It paints a picture of someone whose moral compass was just shattered from the start.
Almost like he was taught that abuse and violence were normal.
You could see it as a double bind, maybe. The mother supposedly strict, the father completely permissive and abusive, total confusion about right and wrong. And then at 17, he has that motorcycle accident.
The traumatic brain injury, did that change him?
Apparently, yes. Sources mention increased lying, cheating, bragging, stealing. A definite personality shift, compounding all the existing issues.
And then the accusation of raping his younger sister, who was only 13, no charges filed because she didn't testify.
Which probably just reinforced that feeling of impunity. that he could do these awful things and get away with it. Yet somehow he also had this superficial charm.
That's often the way, isn't it? The mask they wear. Now, Rose's early life, also incredibly traumatic, but different factors at play.
Very different, but just as damaging. Her mother suffering severe depression, undergoing ECT while pregnant with Rose. There are questions about potential neurological effects right from the start. Rose apparently showed signs like headbanging as a baby.
And her father, Bill Letts, schizophrenic, violent mood swings, and sexually abused Rose.
Yes. And with her mother increasingly withdrawn, Rose became incredibly vulnerable. She ended up forming this bizarre transactional sexual relationship with her abusive father, learning to use her body to get things.
What a completely warped way to learn about relationships and intimacy.
Exactly. School wasn't great for her either. Moody, hated it. Then her parents split, and at 16, she went to live permanently with her father, the abuser.
There are reports about her being strangely fascinated with her own body around that time, too, making her brother uncomfortable.
Suggests a lot of inner turmoil, confusion, likely stemming from the abuse and lack of healthy emotional connection. So you have these two individuals, Fred and Rose, both profoundly damaged by their upbringings.
And then they meet. How did that happen? Fred already had a wife, didn't he? Rena Costello?
He did. Met Rena in '62 when she was hitchhiking, already pregnant. They apparently married for convenience, and Fred claimed her baby, Charmaine, was his. A lie right from the start.
Then they had their own daughter, Anna Marie. But the accounts suggest Fred treated both girls terribly.
Couldn't find him in a barred bunk bed, apparently. Really harsh. Around the same time, '64, '65, he met Anne McFall. She seemed vulnerable, and he convinced her to live with him.
Predatory behavior, even then. And then there was that tragic accident with the ice cream van.
Yeah, 1965, he hit and killed a 4-year-old boy. No legal repercussions, which again might have fed that sense of getting away with things.
Soon after, he left Weena, took the girls but then put them into care, and moved on with Anne McFall, who got pregnant.
But then Rena came back. So Fred hit Anne, and then Anne McFall vanished in 1967.
And Fred's story about finding her dead in a suitcase with a pimp.
Utterly unbelievable, especially now we know she was the 12th victim found years later, a clear escalation to murder.
And then, early 1969, he meets Rosemary Letts. Rose, at a bus stop. She was only just 15.
Apparently, she was initially repulsed by his appearance, but his attention flattered her. Her parents disapproved strongly, even reported them to social services because of her age and rumors about what was going on at Fred's caravan.
Prostitution rumors, wasn't it?
Yes. Rose got placed in a home for troubled teens, but she kept seeing Fred. Got pregnant at 15.
Went back into care briefly, was supposed to terminate the pregnancy.
But didn't. She went back to Fred permanently. Their first daughter together, Heather Ann, was born in October 1970.
Then Fred got jailed briefly for stealing tires, leaving Rose, just 17, to look after 3 kids, Charmaine, Anna Marie, and baby Heather.
A huge amount of pressure. And it seems like this period, maybe while Fred was away, was when things really started to spiral into the darkness of 25 Cromwell Street. Rose started working as a prostitute there.
Encouraged by Fred, according to the sources.
Actively encouraged. And the accounts suggest Rose had her own violent tendencies in these encounters, especially if clients resisted. Fred often joined in. Threesomes, bondage. They shared these violent sexual interests.
That description of Rose's room, holes in the walls for Fred to watch, a baby monitor, a bar, a red light outside. It's like a purpose-built environment for abuse.
Chillingly deliberate. And the fact that her own father, Bill Letts, became a client. It's just layers upon layers of dysfunction.
By 1983, she had 8 kids, some likely fathered by clients, but Fred accepted them. But they were apparently very abusive parents.
Very strict, very abusive. And then people started disappearing from the house. Charmaine, Fred's stepdaughter, gone in '71 after suffering abuse, particularly from Rose. Rose later admitted killing her.
And Linda Go, a lodger, disappeared in '73.
Right. And then the sexual abuse of Fred's own daughter, Anna Marie, started in the cellar, September '72. And it continued, escalated. They forced her into prostitution from age 13.
With Rose apparently encouraging it, even taking pleasure in it. It's sickening.
Truly sickening. Then in December '72, they abducted Caroline Owens, subjected her to horrific abuse, but she survived. She reported them.
But they got off lightly, didn't they? A fine. Because she was reluctant to testify about the full extent.
Exactly. A massive missed opportunity to stop them. It likely just emboldened them, proved they could get away with it.
And so the murders continued. Victims dismembered, buried in the cellar, the garden. He concreted the cellar floor after Juanita Mott's murder in '75, trying to cover the tracks.
A very deliberate act of concealment.
Yeah.
Then Shirley Robinson, a lodger who was pregnant, murdered in 78. Apparently Rose was jealous,
Mhm.
and they removed the unborn baby.
Unspeakable. After Anna Marie managed to run away in 79, the focus of the abuse shifted, didn't it? To the younger girls, Heather and May.
Fred's incestuous abuse escalated, particularly after they hit puberty. His justification, that chilling line, "I made you, I can do what I like with you," it just shows his complete lack of empathy, his sense of ownership.
Heather was desperate to leave. Friends and school staff saw bruises, knew something was wrong.
But she disappeared in June 1987. Just after finding out a job application, her potential escape route hadn't worked out. That was, in a way, the last murder before it all unraveled. They were finally arrested in April 1994.
And the investigation? That's when the true scale of it all came out. 9 bodies found at Cromwell Street.
Martin Brunt described those 5 bodies found in the cellar. Then Heather, Allison Chambers, Shirley Robinson in the garden, Linda Goss under the bathroom floor, Therese Siegenthaler, Lucy Partington, Juanita Mott, Shirley Hubbard, Carol Cooper, also in the cellar.
An entire house turned into a graveyard. The details: missing hands, feet, kneecaps on most victims. Bondage materials found with 8 of them. Consistent sadistic methods.
And after 55 days of digging, they finally found Anne McFall's body elsewhere, the 12th victim. Fred initially tried to say Rose wasn't involved.
But the police didn't buy it. They arrested her too, April 94.
Fred never faced trial, though. He killed himself in prison January 95.
Mm.
Left that bizarre note about loving Rose, loving Heather, wanting Charmaine and Rena to be with Heather, delusional to the very end.
Which meant Rose faced the court alone, convicted of 10 murders in November 95. Life sentence, whole life order. She'll never get out.
Justice, of a sort. But it doesn't bring anyone back. The house itself, 25 Cromwell Street, was demolished in 96.
Had to be done, really. To stop it becoming some kind of sick tourist spot, now it's just a footpath. They even ground up the contents, didn't they?
Yeah, totally obliterated. The surviving younger children were given new identities, thankfully, a chance at some kind of life away from that shadow.
And Anna Marie. She insisted Charmaine and Rena's ashes be cremated together. No roses allowed. Such a powerful, painful detail. The trauma she endured. Reported suicide attempts. It's heartbreaking.
The detective, Hazel Savage, got honors for her work on the case, deservedly so. But even with the convictions, questions linger. That Reddit discussion you mentioned.
Right. Unresolved mysteries. Talking about potentially more victims. Maybe up to 20 more. Speculation about burial sites on a farm near Berkeley, this place called The Barn.
And the fact that permission to search that farm was reportedly denied, that leaves a huge question mark, doesn't it? Who else might be out there?
Plus all those women and girls known to hang around Cromwell Street in the 70s and 80s who just vanished. Marilyn, Donna Lynn Moore with an American accent, others maybe Dutch or German.
People who were perhaps transient, vulnerable, maybe connected to nearby military bases. There were similarities noted between some of them and the known victims' fathers in the service, European origins. Was there a pattern?
And Elizabeth Swan disappeared hitchhiking near Gloucester in 74. Another potential name on a list that might be longer than we know.
And then there's Barry West, one of the younger kids, claiming years later in 2004 that he saw Rose stomp Heather to death.
Which contradicts Fred trying to take the blame for that one. It just points again to Rose's active, violent role, the true lives footage showing inside the house, even empty. It's still haunting.
It all adds up to just overwhelming horror. The sheer depravity, the damaged lives that led to it, and the terrible possibility of victims still undiscovered.
Those unanswered questions, especially about the missing women in that farm, they really stick with you. It's a chilling reminder that this kind of evil can hide in plain sight, in ordinary places.
And the devastating impact of abuse, violence, and, frankly, the times the system failed to intervene, like with Caroline Owens. The consequences ripple outwards for generations.
So as you process all this, you're left wrestling with the ethics, the search for truth for all the victims, known and unknown.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Thinking about everything we've covered.
Oh.
What specific part of this whole nightmare do you find the most unsettling? The part that maybe needs even closer scrutiny? We encourage you to share any thoughts or perspectives you might have in the comments below.